Quick update on the chargers. I know we discussed them last time around. Was able to confirm that 30-some thousand dollar tax credit. I guess I should give you some background, Patrick. We discussed some EV chargers that Revision Energy put together a proposal for us on that would take like 8 of the spots for fast chargers. So right now over at Franklin, there's the slow charger level 2s that were installed by a nonprofit, but that the city provides the electric for free. We're looking into some fast chargers and to kind of take advantage of some of the tax credits that are out there right now. Is like a $135,000 proposal, of which with all the credits, it'd be about $3,000 from the city side of things. So seems, yeah, so it's kind of a, but you can see where this stalls in terms of infrastructure building, because even with those incentives, well, they're going to take over 8 spots over here in our parking lot. That's a lot of spots. How would we kind of arrange that? What would be the rules on it? Does the tax credits kind of really get me? So we're going back to the drawing board a little bit with them. Can we do, just 4 spots with 2 chargers? Well, that's going to pretty much be the same cost. I think you said that last time around.
Infrastructure cost is
Yeah,
going to exist.
it's to get in that line to and then and then how the tax credits work. They're trying to incentivize more spots. So I'm also thinking about, do we just replace the ones at Franklin with these fast chargers that are paid for? So that it, I think, does what we're trying to do, which is increase our electric infrastructure, draw people that are coming to the downtown area so they can charge up for 40 minutes. Those slow charges, that takes you 4 hours to get a real charge in your car, and that's not even a full charge. You really need to be there for 8 hours. We're trying to probably create a little more turnover downtown than that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking now is, can we replace those free chargers that are slow with fast chargers that are paid for, so the city's not eating the cost on electricity anymore? And and the other thing is, there's a time expiration on the $80,000 tax credit from the state of Maine, Efficiency Maine. I've heard that might be running out, so it's kind of year end. So I want to kind of get while the getting's good on some of these things. What's up, Steve?
Yeah, one question I have about that is, well, a couple of questions. There was a question about the second credit, the 30,000, and you've determined that that's where.
Yeah, so the Inflation Reduction Act actually specifically carved out municipalities, nonprofits, that one is, the Inflation Reduction Act basically said we're gonna, that's how they're gonna get around that. So that it's not just for the, the.
Residential, right?
Yeah,
So
residential.
we're entitled to that.
We are entitled to
Okay.
that as a municipality, yeah.
Second question is there any synergies for where the infrastructure exists over there? Is there any value in putting a whole line of chargers there?
Yeah, I think that's why I'd stick with the 4 and then 8 spots, And again, this is kind of setting us up for the future. I just got an electric car. I think one of the city councilors drives an electric car. I have 3 or 4 friends. 4 years ago, I didn't know a single person with an electric car. I think over the next 10 years, so that 8 chargers might be too much for now, but I don't know. We got all these people coming through.
But again, what about putting it over at Franklin?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All of them.
All 8 at Franklin, with the 4.
I'm not against over here, I'm for it. I just, where you put it is the question. Is there any savings where the infrastructure is already at Franklin, is my question.
I didn't hear that there's going to be savings over there.
Okay.
But let me, again, that's kind of where I'm going to, is he's taking spots here now. I think we probably need some here.
Is there enough room there to put 8?
Over here, or
Or over
at Franklin, I don't know about that yet. There's already, I think, a 4, not for 4. There's also, I think, a weird ownership structure to the Franklin piece of how the city owns it, or how we kind of have the lot, so.
Okay.
I think I misunderstood you. I thought you were just saying to replace those 2 over there and call it quits.
No.
You're saying put everything over there.
Let's have the whole
I
kit and caboodle.
misunderstood
That's
you.
like our electric charging zone, pretty close to downtown still.
Yeah.
The proximity to downtown makes a lot of sense. I mean, my 2 cents is as many as we can get, because there are more and more, and it is a draw. People are coming here and they go, oh, I can charge up in Ellsworth.
Yeah.
They come downtown and they go, oh, might as well go get a sandwich and check out a shop.
Yeah,
and-
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the more, the more we can get, the better. If it means, replacing those, but at the same time, if people are still using those slow chargers, I don't know if they are or not.
They're-
Having both available, the more chargers, the better, to me, seems to make sense, but at the same time,
How does that work with electric vehicles? Like, do you know, like, where chargers are at? Is that something easily accessible to
Super
you?
complicated. I have like 7 apps on my phone.
Yeah, it is not a single
that's what-
one that's
yeah.
the same either.
I was just
Yeah.
wondering as far as like promoting and like like I said, getting people to the downtown area, like if we can promote like, hey, we got these fast chargers and.
Oddly enough, those slow ones don't show up on my Ford Pass app.
Okay, that's what I
so
was
that,
wondering,
that was
yeah.
just something I knew about, and I think that's the second piece of it is like promoting Ellsworth as this hub
Yeah.
to come down here, and hey, we have the fast chargers. They're
what I'm
down
saying.
here. To your point too, I don't like the idea of getting rid of some of our internal, even the slow chargers. It's helpful for people, and they are full up. But I think what we really want out of that is drawing people quick to be here for 40 minutes to an hour, as opposed to leaving their cars there for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie,
Yep.
can we back up a minute? If you go with the level 3 chargers, you're gonna shut down a lot of people that have cars that take level 1 and level 2. The guns are different, that plug in. You can't plug into, for instance, I've got a 21 grand. It won't take the, thank you, sir. It won't take a fast charge. The fast charges in that particular model started with the 23.
Huh.
But you're gonna close out a lot of people from 22 and older in a lot of models.
And I'm paying attention. I'm just writing this down because I want to look into
The
it.
parking lot over there, I mean, we've had, Diane and I have had electric car for 10 years now. And we make use of the Franklin Street charging station. In the summertime, that parking lot is full. I'm not talking just the 2 spaces, I'm talking everything is full over there. It's a very highly used parking lot. In the past, the city got another grant 4 years ago for another charger. And in conversation with the Economic Development Director at the time, it was gonna go in up at the Knowlton Park. And I don't know what happened to the grant, I don't know what happened to the location. But in those conversations, the end of the parking lot over here, up against the embankment, was the best place, we thought was the best place to put them. That way people are still right in the middle of the downtown, like they are at Franklin Street. And yet, you aren't taking up the, let's call it the prime parking spots over there. The parking spots up against the embankment are not used all that much. Some people use them, but usually there's 3 or 4 there. If you're looking at putting in 8 chargers, you might want to consider that spot right there.
Did they decide against that though, because that's where they put all the excess snow in the wintertime?
Yeah, they do.
That-
They plow up against it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could just change it.
That might. I had heard something about, but I like that spot for them. Like you said, it's close to the downtown, kind of like Franklin Street. But then there might be the snow piece of it as well. That's one of the reasons they wanted over here as opposed to in the middle island area too. For these was about like that would be the best for snow plowing. So
But I wouldn't shut down the level 2s. Like I said, you do that, you're gonna shut out a lot of people. Even some of the new cars today are not fast charge. You can get it fast charge, if you upgrade as an option. But most of your cars are at least level 2. When you say slow charge is really a level 1, that.
yeah, outlet or
plug
your
into- that they plug into
dryer.
an outlet,
Yeah.
a 120 outlet. That's a slow charger.
Yeah, and I should, let me look into, talk to Revision about this. So it's kind of, because I've been down the rabbit hole in this now. So the ones that like the charge point, these are the ones that you'd see on like the main turnpikes. I think they're the most.
Oh, yeah.
And it's more of like, this is like the 40 minutes to an hour and 20 for a full charge. There's a
Right.
Tesla supercharger, that's, and then there's the there's another one, it's called like Go Charge. EV Go, that's the ones that are in Portland, and that's like the 30-minute, 20 to 30-minute, super fast. So it's
And-
not that one.
And those are 440 lines.
Right, that's
I don't believe you have 440 over in
Franklin.
Franklin Street.
And that's the ones that I'd like to consider maybe for the marina. I think to your point on Knowlton, I think there's a couple aspects as we expand this charging area. And in the infrastructure plan, we have a whole fleet, chargers, green infrastructure, energy efficiency piece. I think, long-term, getting more people to go to the marina, Knowlton Park, here, I think we were kind of thinking maybe switching the level 2s to the Knowlton Park area. But at the same time, I'm also cognizant of like this $80,000. Like right now, those eight plugins with 4 chargers would cost, fast chargers would cost the city $3,000, and that's next year that might cost us, $83,000 or more. So I'm like, how
If you
do
can get a fast charger for $3,000, yeah, that's a steal.
8 of them.
Yeah.
$3,000 each.
So it's 135,000 for 4 terminals with 2 chargers
Two
per.
guns on each. Yeah.
So we're really looking at $3,000 for the city for 8 fast chargers. But there's an 80,000 of that as an expiration with efficiency main by the end of the year. And I've heard some of that, so it's kind of like, I don't want to let perfect be, this one, I want to get them installed. That's a huge infrastructure upgrade that is going to come for the city of Ellsworth. But we want to do it right.
Do we have
so.
to have them installed before the end of the year?
I don't-
or at
I think
least
we-
commit to it?
We have to have it by the end of the year because they can't, it's a different install if it's ground's frozen,
I was
so.
gonna say,
it's
we basically have like
Just-
month and a half.
Month and a half.
Yeah,
Yeah, no
okay,
rush.
good. Hey, no rush, come on.
Yeah, I
Keep
know.
going down that rabbit hole.
And there's nothing else I'm working on, like courthouses or anything, so.
Yeah,
So we vote now?
It's a good problem to have,
Yeah.
right? This is a really great opportunity. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
think Mark's comments, do we wanna, so that's why I'm a little hesitant to get rid of some infrastructure. If there's a way that we can find a spot, and maybe it's not perfect, but if it's downtown.
Yeah.
Somewhere, and, figuring out what, all that. In the end of the day, we just gotta make it happen.
Let's do it. Let's get this.
I know nothing about electric cars.
You and me both.
Yeah.
Do you ever drive mine?
Oh, I've gone for a ride in
you
his.
have,
and
okay.
I have whiplash now.
Do you have one too, Dan?
I have a Jeep.
But
Oh,
anyway,
nice.
my question is this, and this is probably so obvious to everybody but me, but is there a surge protector that automobiles could hook into anything and reduce the surge to their car to slow
No.
it down? Or
No.
is there something?
Everything's automatic from the manufacturer.
Okay, so
You don't want to mess with them.
Okay, but, or is there an adapter that could be offered at the site itself? You have 3 different plugs or what have you, so it could plug into anything. That's a stupid question.
No, it's,
No, it makes sense, I get it.
But like a motorhome industry,
Yeah.
there's surge protectors for 30 amp services, there's surge protectors for 60 amp services.
Yep.
I'm just wondering, is there some tool?
yeah, honestly, it's kind of like iPhone dongles. There really is like, so the Tesla just opened theirs up because they had their whole network, but in order to kind of qualify for the tax credits for the Inflation Reduction Act, they were forced, because they have by far the fastest chargers and the biggest network, they were forced to open up their chargers to other cars that aren't Teslas. But it's created a backlog. So with my Ford, they offered me the free adapter, but I've heard people have been waiting for 6 months for that. They still haven't gotten it. I haven't gotten it. You can, for $250, you can buy an off-brand dongle for your Ford. My friend who has an F-150 Lightning has this. But if some crazy surge comes to your point, Mark, you blow your battery, like you just voided your warranty with that piece. But on the other side of that, there are, and the EV Go's were like this, there are some that they come with, it's like a different gas pump. So there'll be 2 different things. One goes into a Tesla, one goes into your Fords and Jeeps and other things that are more of your standard 3-point configuration.
And it's gonna get better.
Yeah,
The
it's,
adapter world is gonna
Yeah,
come back
you're
for
right.
sure.
Yeah.
yeah, this whole, the premier ones that I've seen, and actually it was Paul at Flexit that told me about them. He drives out of his way to Portland to go to them, is the EV Go ones. And that was just, they're these huge terminals, and they have, there's touch screens, and you can pay with the credit, and they have all kinds of different things to put in. And that's the one I was like, oh my God, this is like going to a gas station, as opposed to the ones we have in Franklin Street. I could get enough, after 2 or 3 hours, I can get enough to get me back to Castine. But if I want a full charge on that guy, I got to keep that there for 12 hours in order to get a full
It
tank.
takes 12 hours for my Jeep, overnight, basically. Yep, plug it
Really?
in when I get home, and it's ready to go in the morning.
What does it cost you to set up the charger at your house, so you can charge at your house? Does that cost a lot of money? Do you have one?
It was around 900,
Do you have one at your house?
yeah.
You do?
It's now like $2,000 is what they're going for. You can plug it in, like you said, they make an adapter for the wall outlet, but that's like you charge it overnight and you get 12 miles. So.
Yeah, it is,
Wow.
it is, yeah.
That's like an emergency situation. They also make like a dryer adapter that goes in there, and you can go to like campgrounds, RV parks in an emergency and like plug into one of those like dryer pieces. That'll be a little bit quicker, but
So we need to build you a trailer with a generator behind you.
yeah, I have actually an old Northern Lights generator in my basement. I've thought about parking that in the North Woods, getting an adapter, having my own like North Woods
Charging
EV charging station.
I think it's a big part for Ellsworth. I know we've jumped around here, but I think it's huge that even for the people that don't use electric vehicles, the fact that Ellsworth is on the market and advertising that, it just talks about Ellsworth more.
Yeah.
That's what I was,
Yeah, it just.
saying
even
that
if
we
you're-
need to like promote that, this is an area you can fast charge.
Yeah, and on that note, we are doing infrastructure planning, I also include digital infrastructure in that category, our website, our Fix-It ticket system, which I found out we do like the free version that we've been using for 5 or 6 years, which isn't customizable, which doesn't have like detailed analytics on what our Fix-It tickets have been in the past. So we have like 1,800 Fix-It tickets over the last, but also there's, when we did a demo this week, with the same company that is providing our body cams on some options they use. We're doing another one actually today with another system on how to just better public interactions for. I found a pothole, there's a tree doing this, you can make it almost public, and then it's also a lot of internal processes. Right now, we're taking them in and servicing them, but we're not doing a good job of like sending them back out, and yes, your ticket has been done, and having somebody own that piece, and it's a big one. So we're gonna kind of kick the tires on systems. There might be a financial component to that as well, but there's, and I'm gonna be coming back to this team, not next week, but the week after that, with probably roads is the first big one. That one's almost finalized. And then there's some other pieces on banning or bond to bond on how that will work. We also, with the pension, we had the RFI for the courthouse, the request for information for anybody that has a property that they'd like to be considered as an alternate location to the courthouse. That's out there, but if we do pursue a land swap with the state, if we do find a suitable alternative, that could, kind of like the Avery Lane piece, might require a ban to bond. So Nate and I are working on those pieces, so.
Yeah, talked to Jim Safian yesterday, I think Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll give him a call. I have to check with your schedule, but, yeah.
So just trying to get everything lined up so that once we get our infrastructure pieces and the alternate courthouse, if we go down that route, that we have kind of the financing pieces lined up and ready to go as soon as council says yes or no on any of these things. So I think I've got some other things, but knowing we got 10 minutes, I want to kick it over to Nate and obviously our audience as well. In addition to the chargers piece being a potential revenue driver as well, once we actually charging for these things. But also I'm looking into other potential revenues. We talked about parking last time around, parking enforcement, parking meters. I guess there was a proposal that never quite made it to council a few years ago from another company that Sean had been working with. So they've already kind of mapped out potential. And this was a substantial sum of income for the town if they did every single parking spot that's like publicly. Now, I'm not saying we do that. I'm almost, would prefer a staggered approach, but I'm going to restart that conversation, just kick the tires on what that would mean. Is it just the little downtown area and like the front parts of Knowlton Park, or sorry, the marina spots, which those are the kind of places that we want to create a little turnover. They get kind of locked in, and we don't want a car staying there for 12 hours. How much revenue would actually generated by these? Is there a resident/worker options that, we're not just, basically charging a lot of people to work or to live here? We're really trying to focus on the additional tourists and those from away that are coming in and putting extra pressures, and how all that works. So I know there's a bazillion questions that'll be associated with that, but I'm meeting, I think, in 2 or 3 weeks with that company that does the Bar Harbor parking to look at what that would be for Ellsworth if we went that route. And the other big piece is the short-term rental regulations. I've had some initial conversations with other cities and towns on kind of what they're doing. There's everything from, disallowance and big zones, like it's happening on the island, and then there's, in other cities and towns, it's just a fee and a registration and everything kind of in between. So I'm going to keep those conversations going, as we look towards next budget season, not just the Ellsworth taxpayer as a source of revenue, but some additional revenue sources that, aren't putting as much burden on just the Ellsworth taxpayer themselves. So we're going to try and look at both sides of this equation, and tightening our belt as we're looking to. We talked yesterday, I guess there used to be some programs here on just if folks can come in some cost savings things, that there could be some sort of spot bonuses, but that's also not necessarily fair, because the front office can't save as much money as Public Works, right? They can find, and also, shouldn't we be doing that all the time anyways, trying to get things as cheap as possible? So looking into ways that we can also just make efficiencies to save money, both on the revenue side, but also procurement side and those types of things. So,
Great.
It's called an EPIP,
an EPIP.
Employee Performance, no, it wasn't,
Incentive program?
incentive program, yeah.
Good call. Finish it up.
I was feeling pippy.
Get your pips.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, there's the other PIP, the
Yeah,
performance
yeah.
improvement plan that you really don't want to get.
No, that's why I was like, something's wrong
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
I think it was,
Maybe change the name if we
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. Nate, do you have anything?
Obviously Thursday and Friday last week, since I wasn't here on Friday, I was at MMA at the Maine Municipal Tax Collector and Treasurer Association, otherwise known as MTICTA, at their government accounting workshop, which was, I think, very informative. I feel like I learned a lot as far as government accounting. I feel like I'm more like Tammy every day, which is my goal.
I'm sorry.
Sorry to everyone else around here. No. But I appreciate Ashley and everyone for holding down the fort. And like Charlie said, we were working with Jim Safian and the band situation, getting that all squared away. Ashley and I are living in the past, in the words of Sue Lessard, working on the 24 reconciliations. We're having a good time doing that. It's fun when you weren't here, but we'll figure it out. Going through Munis and Cassell, because obviously we have both programs for 24. But we'll get through it. Huge shout out to Leah, Deb. They're holding the fort down when it comes to AP, AR. We actually met with Leah yesterday. She's doing great. She's awesome. Cross-training her and Deb. The goal was obviously for them to know both sides, everything that they do. Yeah, I'm really proud of our team, so
Okay.
that's all I got.
The last thing, and Tammy, to pick your brain for a quick second on, for the EV, let's say we wanted to go forward tomorrow. Do I need to come to council for that, or is that something, $3,000 it is in my threshold, but it's an infrastructure change. I don't know if you know into that kind of like what the
Well,
rules.
the project is still, $135,000, even though we're gonna pay $3,000. I think it's best to come to council
Okay.
to ask for that, so.
And I might do kind of what we did with, I think we're ready to publish and post the September meeting
Yeah.
agenda and those things.
Slap it on.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Maybe I'll talk to Ebony, just say, let's put it on there. If it's just an update, it's an update, and maybe more public gets to know about EVs and what we're thinking of.
Yeah.
And just kind of hear this conversation, or maybe it lights a fire under me to get that in revision, saying, hey, we're here. If we've
Yeah.
got it and we can get these credits organized, like, we can do it, so.
I feel like well, at least the four, Michelle was here last week and we talked about it, and I think the four of us felt like it was a really good project to move forward, so
Yeah.
I feel like the other counselors will probably be kind of
Yeah.
on the same page.
This will be a.
I agree. My only little bit of caution is, let's not assume that this money is gonna fly into City Hall. Efficiency Maine is pretty standard. That other one, I don't know how you capture that money.
Yeah.
I don't.
Right.
Yeah, and, you know,
I don't
and
know
rev-
how, and is it I mean, Efficiency Maine, I think everyone has probably dealt with them at some point, and they've been very, very good. But this other piece, you know, what rain dance do we need to do to make that fly into City Hall?
It may actually, the contractor may go after it, because I think with Efficiency Maine, a lot of times the contractors will fill out
Yeah.
the paperwork and stuff, and they'll receive the
Yeah,
monies.
Revision is really the top, renewable energy company in Maine, and they
Yeah.
know that the easier they make it for their client, the easier it is for everyone.
I just don't want to.
But I'll try and have
No,
those.
that's-
Surprise.
Yeah, I'll-
absolutely,
You
and
know,
we're
let's
sitting
not.
on-
And Charlie, do we have
make it
to
$3,000.
upfront any money, or is it was just through, like, do we have to upfront and then we get reimbursed?
I think it's just the, yeah, that would be the last question here is, hey, let's do it. You know, is it upfront and then reimburse,
Okay.
like the DEP stuff that we did when we do these? Do we have to carry that for a while? We're in a good shape probably over the next couple of weeks because of the tax season to carry it, but would want to know that, and that these credits are still live. But we'll fast track that to you. And
Okay.
to your point, Steve, on, yeah, does the 80,000 come up front from Efficiency Maine, or does a company Revision? But Revision, like you said, they're B Corp, employee-owned, they're kind of seems like the gold standard around here for this type of thing. And also might help us start establishing a relationship with these folks on other things, like
Yeah.
the solar credits and other municipal building infrastructure and energy efficiency. There's an incredible amount of grant funding and other things that, as we see with this, are expiring. And the cities that are the best at chasing and getting this in, are going to reduce their costs and, take the most advantage so we don't have to put that on Ellsworth taxpayers, so.
Well, and I think, in all likelihood, in the next, who knows, 5 to 10 years, we'll probably want the whole city's fleet to be electric. There's gonna be a tipping point where that's the way to go. So if we're building the infrastructure for, people coming here, developing that relationship, eventually, we're gonna wanna have all of our fleet, electric that can be.
Yeah, and that's a part of this piece, is the inventory of fleet. We're talking to Enterprise about how that would work for the electric vehicle side of things. I think Mike and I and Amanda went down some deep rabbit holes. You'd think that these would just be, okay, here's how a municipality, here's the FAQ for the federal government, on how a municipality would electrify its fleet if it wants to. That is not a simple process. However, the private companies have kind of, done a lot of that legwork for us. And hopefully, I'll know more about that. I think it's September 18th,
Yeah,
meeting
be
with,
interested.
hey, if you want to, there's like a $40,000 credit for the really big trucks, but because we can't really do a snowplow here, that's,
Yeah.
so, there's a $4,000 in
One
that.
road, and then we ran out of charge.
And there's Charlie's generator
Yeah.
following behind all the trucks. Running on gas.
Honestly, yeah, we could try our own business. To Nancy's point on having Mike do our vac truck everywhere, maybe there's a market here.
Roving, charging.
Great.
Any public,
Oh, yes. Anybody from the public?
This doesn't really have anything to do with you, but I loved your comment and problems you've been having going from Munis to Cassell. I guess, is that the way you're going?
yes, that's
Okay,
correct.
all right. You're not the only place. I read an article in this week's Bangor Daily. They're doing their first revaluation in 37 years. And you get into that article, one of their problems is they're interfacing, I guess they must be going from Munis to Cassell in some part of their stuff up in Bangor, but that's having an effect on their reval and
Yeah.
stuff. So all I can say on this is good luck. I go back.
I thought you had more
all the
wisdom.
way
I thought you had more
back.
wisdom.
How do you really
Back
feel?
when Tammy and Michelle brought Munis into the system, and I never thought Munis worked.
Oh, I loved Munis.
And, but our relationship of figures on the library and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That was, it was screwed up. And it was screwed up on the city side, not the library side. and it was Munis. And now I just follow this whole thing, and are you ever gonna get there?
I'm gonna get
Everything
there,
out of
yeah.
Munis and into Casella?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. We're
Okay.
gonna get there.
But,
It's just,
all right, I don't have anything else to say on that, but I think Munis was a real problem. But it was probably
It's an
needed, it was
accounting
probably an
thing.
advancement
It's
over what there
lawyers.
was 30, 15, 20 years ago, whatever. But,
And to your point, sir, I think Nate was talking, he went to that seminars last week, and he told me that, I hate to steal your thunder, but
No, that's fine.
that they asked, how many people are 2023 audit, and, Ellsworth got to raise its hand, and a lot of other people, I guess, didn't.
A lot of people are living in 21, 22 still, so
So it's,
I guess it's a benefit to us, but, that doesn't mean we're there yet, trust me.
no, so we want to get fully reconciled and in that category,
Yeah.
but this is a main, and I've had a conversation with the Maine State Auditor too about just what they're seeing. This is a systemic problem. It's not just to Ellsworth. Now, we're going to get, we're changing the system so we're meet it, but we're going to get there.
It'll be the gold standard soon enough.
Gold standard.
Exactly, yeah.
And Chair, that we did also, I know, one last thing is we did vote on the water increase. I reviewed that. I know you made that comment a while back. It was, Reggie made a specific presentation on it during the process, so the council was made aware on that increase, and it was part of the budget process. So I talked to him about it. He specifically told all the councilors.
Yeah, I remember, I think I remember that.
Yeah, we had the back and forth
So
on
then
it.
by voting on the budget, we approved it.
Right, so, but I'll talk to you about it too a little more.
Okay.